Artem Zuba, who insists they were wrong to portray the Russia fans as the main instigators of the majority of the trouble.
I don't really understand this kind of reaction of this British media.
We'll have to look at things like the free movement of labour rules.
And yet, freedom of movement is a central tenet, a golden rule of the EU. Big change on that while still in the club would be unprecedented. Next, let's look at some figures. I've spent the day working with the BBC's fisheries, science and universities. Today, Vote Leave said if we do come out of the EU, the government should continue making those payments until 2020. That would leave ministers with £8.4 billion a year to spend that currently is sent to Brussels and doesn't come back. It's spent elsewhere in the continent. Now, during this campaign, out-campaigners have suggested this could be spent on all sorts of things, new roads or school places, for instance. The in-campaign said this was fantasy economics. Today, Vote Leave have narrowed their focus and suggested an extra £5.5 billion could be spent on the NHS every year and £1.7 billion on removing VAT from domestic fuel bills. Add those last two numbers together and there's actually money left over from that 8.4.
For science, we will replace that money. We'll have more than enough to do it.
A fellow government minister and fellow outer, Priti Patel, asked,
why would any government of the day choose to cut those areas of spending when these are, institutions, organisations, parts of our society, farmers in particular, that are immensely important?
Well, as a result, we think that you could be talking about 20 to 40 billion pounds worth of takeaway required, so maybe a year or two extra of austerity not given.
Both sides have pointed to the example of Canada's trade deal with the EU to bolster their arguments. This, for example, was Leave campaigner Boris Johnson back in March.
What I think we should do is strike a new free trade deal on the lines of what Canada has just achieved. They take out the vast majority of the tariffs. They have virtually.
Of course, wants Britain to remain in the EU had this warning when he spoke to the BBC's Andrew